Evening, good evening. こんばんは。久しぶりです。本当に久しぶりです。This is the first video in a live streaming series that I want to do that teaches people how to understand anime without English subtitles. It'll also just help you learn Japanese as a whole. This is going to help with speaking, but it's more focused specifically on anime. Let's just talk about anime for now. I mean, this will also work for any show, any movie, essentially. I think like maybe there's videos out there that are teaching this already. I don't know, to be honest, guys. But it feels like the one thing that I just keep, I think everybody's natural tendency when they're learning, or what the internet seems to be teaching everyone, is like grammar. Ah, I don't know that grammar tool. And yes, but no. But I just want to do this from the perspective of somebody who, let's just say, knows almost no Japanese. But essentially our approach to this whole thing is we're going after frequency. Everybody always obsesses over nouns, which is usually kanji, and grammar. But they are often the most infrequent. And so the harder the anime, the more relevant this becomes. So here we have Deathnote. You can do what we're doing today. You can do this with Deathnote or any other anime or any show. But I recommend not doing that. And I'm going to give you a recommendation. That's the one we're going to be using to learn. But essentially you can't literally just start watching anime in 5 days, but the 5 days is about 5 days of, focus, or 5 days of study. Okay. So day 1 is going to be endings. Okay. Day 2 is going to be nouns and na adjectives. Day 3 is verbs. 4 is the variations of all 3 of those. So endings, nouns, na adjectives, verbs. Anoshi. Oh, nice. You actually wrote an ending. Very good. And then day 5 is the hiragana rule, which is a rule I developed, and grammar and its variations. So that literally is all of Japanese. But I think speaking and stuff becomes much more it's so diverse. Like speaking, who you're doing. If we're just trying to understand, I think we're actually able to narrow stuff down a lot. The most overwhelming one is going to be grammar. Okay. Day 5 is like let's just say it's an infinite day 5. Okay. But endings, nouns, adjectives, verbs, these are very, 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 very manageable. And basically this is kind of how it has to happen. Oops. So first we need to get in the right mindset. Okay. Let's get in the mindset of this. Okay. Number 1, you're not trying to understand 100%. Okay. That would be insane. If you're trying to understand 100%, you're assuming you're native, or you're assuming you're already very fluent in Japanese, or at least close to it. And that would be strange. If we're trying to watch anime without subtitles, then we wouldn't want to teach ourselves this strange I guess exercise. We'll be kind of training ourselves in the wrong way. If we see text here, if I see this text and then I go pause, oh, let me look up that kanji, oh, let me look up aru, let me look up that kanji, let me look up no, let me look, like, obviously that's a failed approach. Let's just say we copy paste the whole thing to like ChatGPT or something. Sure, it's gonna tell us what it means, and then you could even tell it to like say, hey, tell me what this sentence means, and then tell me blah blah blah. But even that's not gonna work, because this is an incomplete sentence. The next part comes next, and just by knowing each word is actually not gonna make you better at a language. So yeah, we're not trying to translate those sentences on our own either. Even this is, I'll just say this part is definitely more relevant and true once you're much better. Once you are understanding a lot more, yes, that is fine. That's fine. But we're taking the perspective of somebody who basically knows anything, okay? Doesn't know anything. So, if we're not doing this stuff, if we are not kind of trying to do what everyone else seems to be doing, or we're not sentence mining either, we're not doing that, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to learn? Okay, basically it boils down to, you need to identify what is happening. And if you cannot identify things, here, let me pull this up, it'll still be helpful. If you can't identify what something, why isn't that move? There we go. If you can't identify what is in the sentence, like, oh, that is that's a verb, like aru. If you have no idea that aru is a verb, or that aru is positive, like it's affirmative, well, you're really not going to get far at all, right? So the way that we move forward, and actually the way that you will be good no matter what level you are at understanding stuff, is identification. And grammar is that last one. And so if any of you are watching and you've ever thought, I know I've heard this so many times, and I promise you this is usually the sentence miner people, Anki people, very vocab centric people that say this. They go, I understand all the words, but I don't understand the sentence, and I don't know why. That is mostly because you're not identifying grammar that's there that you don't know about. And I don't blame you, because sometimes it's hard. But if you were more familiar with, I guess you're also assuming. And when we assume, like, hey, this is, I get all the words, why don't I understand? I don't know, maybe that's a good time to use ChatGPT if you're feeling that. Maybe that can help you, because for me, like, that's what I have my students do with me. So they just, like, I don't get this, you know, just send me a picture or whatever. But we have to identification, okay? So instead of something really hard, I really love this anime. I'm watching it, you know, I started watching it again because we're doing this, but for like this is like the 5th or 6th time I'm watching it, which I honestly can't believe. I think I've literally watched this anime more than any other anime ever. Maybe Ghibli, like a Ghibli movie, I've watched more than that, but that's about it. But as far as like show, this one, this show is perfect, I think. Oh, here's that thing. So I don't recommend starting with Deathnote or Steins Gate or something insane like that, because every element of the language in something like that, Deathnote or Steins Gate, it's just going to be off the charts nuanced and difficult to identify what's what. It's going to be extra different. Like in Steins Gate, even the guy's name, the American character's name, is like 6 kanji, right? It's like in Kyoma, 5 kanji. And then like even when I was watching, I was like, why is his name that? Like some weird Chinese combination thing. Like, I know, okay, Ho, that's like the, you know, the Pokemon, I guess. Like, so it just, everything is going to be extra difficult. Like, let's not get confused by names, huh? Like, let's make the easy stuff easy. Like, oh, his name is Golda Takeo. He says his name like 5,000 times. But this anime truly is, and it's very accessible. So that's also good for all you guys watching. Just perfect for a lot, like really a lot of reasons, but here's just 3. Okay, so 1, they use the same words a lot. So you're gonna get a lot of value and practice if you're spending time on this, because you're gonna be like, oh, you're gonna look up a word and you're like, oh, okay, that's what that means. And it's gonna show up again like 5-6 times. 5-6 times, like just within that episode. Okay. Number 2 is the main character, this guy, Takeo. Really funny, like really funny. If you're familiar with the slice of life genre, this is kind of like slice of life, but it's like kind of picking on it, like it's a comedy. So it's not like all about the love story or whatever. It's like it's just like a comedy. So I think that's why I can rewatch it. Like, and the third reason is there's many other reasons, but we have a lot to do, so let's get moving. Okay, so we're gonna watch just for like a second. Okay, and first I'm just gonna show you a couple examples of what an E adjective looks like, and then I'm gonna I don't think we'll watch all of them, but I'll just give you a couple. Turn it down. All right. 昔々ある山の中に心優しい赤鬼がたった一人で住んでいました. Okay. And there's actually another one right there, Oishi. But all right. So, we have our first one. It's right here. Now, kokoro yasashi, it's not like that one is a super common good, very good. So I would translate it like, I didn't look it up, but and I've heard that word many times, but you just, it's like, okay, it's yasashi, okay? Yasashi. I. Okay, yasashi I. It's an E ending, not an I ending, okay? It's not I ending, it's E ending. Okay, that's very important. So our goal is to identify, right? So essentially, you can just look for this. That's kind of like your first inclination, right? It might be hard to figure out, wait, is this connected to this? Is this connected to this? But that's kind of your first goal, okay? That's kind of the first step of identification. You're not just gonna get it right the first or second time. Maybe it might take you some time to get used to finding them, but after enough exposure, it's not gonna be that hard, okay? Especially when you see repeats, you're like, oh, yasashi, right? And like this doesn't help. And so it's kind of a combination of everything. I don't even know what that one was for. It's kind of a combination of everything together. Your E ending, so van, verbs, adjectives, nouns, E endings, nouns, non-adjectives, and verbs. I think I said that. And then the grammar. The grammar is obviously going to be the most complicated. Grammar, we'll just call grammar stuff like this ga, maybe de, and things like that. Like in this one, that's kind of the only grammar in my mind. Ga and de, but ga, yeah. Anyway, so you have to know if they're just dropping the particle or if it's a part of the word. Dropping the particle, or if it's part of, I know what you're saying. Yeah, that's another one, right? There's just all these examples of where identification becomes difficult. And I'm gonna make that smaller. And so that's why it's hard. That's why a lot of people don't understand. That's why you can't get any further. It's like you're not able to identify. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to figure out, okay, what's what. And hopefully just doing this is going to help you a little bit. Okay. So, what do I have anything? Right. So number one is you got to be able to read hiragana. Okay. If you can't do that, you got to start there. Okay. Then start katakana as you do this anime immersion guide thing. Otherwise, nothing's going to be possible. E endings, a really common thing that happens with E endings is that it's going to be a kanji and then some hiragana. Okay, that's really common. So that's another pattern you can look for. Essentially, you're just trying to find patterns that seem to make sense. Okay, so there's a lot of E endings. Okay, we're not going to get into all of them, but if you want them real quick, these are the main ones. Is an E adjective. It's a negative verb conjugation, like tabenai, tabenai. That's technically an E ending. You know, we're trying to find this based on identification. So the other one is want. Okay, so like tabetai or ikitai, yaritai. Want ends in tai. So, and they conjugate the same way. All of these conjugate the same way. That's why they're E endings. Okay, so we'll be looking at today just plain now later, polite now later, plain past, polite past, the positive and negatives of each. Hoshi is technically just an E adjective, so that one conjugates the same as well. The way we want to think about these is via conjugation. Conjugation is the key to identification. If you can't realize that something's conjugated in a certain way, like, oh, that's past tense, then you're not going to even get close to seeing what it is in the entire sentence. And yeah, and essentially the way that this works is you see something enough times. Like, I mean, if I see, for even just like, you know, really common one is going to be yokatta or something like that. If I see this enough times, then my brain is not even going to need to think about it. And that's kind of the goal. We're trying to train our brains to quickly identify what something is in a sentence, so that it's like, oh, this is a square, this is a triangle, circle. But at the beginning, you know, it's just a blob. So how do we identify E endings? Okay, by knowing the conjugations. By knowing the conjugations. That's how. Okay. Well, how do we identify anything? By knowing the conjugations and by knowing basic grammar rules. So conjugations doesn't get us the whole way, okay, unfortunately, but knowing the conjugations first, that's our first goal. We gotta get that. And then knowing those will actually help us learn basic grammar rules better, because we'll be able to kind of pick out, oh, well, that's yasashikatta. That's yasashika. I know that means was kind, or like that's kakkoi, which is like cool, cool. Even though it kind of looks different. It's katakana and hiragana. That's weird. So we're going to look at the conjugations. This is quote unquote the boring part. Okay. But this is what you need to know. And this is what I want to teach. So here you go. Here's one E ending. This is an E adjective. We have 読めますか? 新しい、新しい. Who knows what 新しい means? 意味わかりますか? 英語. New! 80 quarts 1 Jordan Powers. Thank you. ありがとうございます. That's right. So, is new 新しい. I chose this word. New, Patricia. Very good. Nice job, guys. I chose this word because this is actually one of the first words that I learned in Japan. I got here studying abroad, and then it was very hard to say the negatives. I was really struggling. I was like, atara shikabada. So I just spent, I do remember sitting at my desk for at least 20 to 30 minutes just practicing saying these conjugations. New, oh, dude, you're right. That is cosmic. That's cool. I never even realized the irony. That's awesome. Okay. じゃあ is not new は日本語でなんて言う? Anybody know the conjugation for is not new? So that would be the negative of 新しい. So guys, this is almost always literally the first lesson I do with my students, because this is where it has to start. Everybody learns stuff like janai, 新しく, you know, 新しくない, wakaranai, and I was the same way, but nobody I swear, nowhere out there that I have found organizes these and puts them in like the right categories at the beginning. So the correct answer is 新しくない. 新しくない. 新しくないよ. 古い. Nice, Patricia. So what I teach in my classes is car, okay? Essentially, if you think of Japanese conjugation as car, change, add, remove, change, add, remove. What happened? What changed from here to here? What was the difference? Okay. Normally I'll let you guys respond, but for time. So we remove the E, okay? Change, add, remove, car. This is just a system to help you think about how conjugation works in Japanese, okay? You remove the E, you add kunai. That's the way I think of it. There's other ways of thinking about it. Whatever you like, you do it. That's what I did. This is what is good for me and how I teach it. So, remove the E, add kunai. Okay, very good. Ja, was new. What is was new? Was new は日本語でなんて言う? 新しかった。新しかった. This one is they're all very important, okay? So, what happened here? What's the change? We went from 新しい to 新しかった, right? What was the change? How did we get there? This is how you should think of conjugation. All we did, we got rid of the E, we added 買った, okay? So, it's okay to now think of 買った as past tense. Not was, but past tense, okay? Think of 買った as past tense for E endings. Not all Japanese, okay? I can't say that was JD. JD 買った. No. We're on E endings. This is E ending conjugation, okay? 買った. 新しかった. 新しかった. 新しい, get rid of the E, add 買った. It's that simple. Car, okay? Now, even if you didn't know this answer or this answer, you should be able to get the correct answer for this. Was not new. Was not new. If you really get it, or if you've been paying attention, you should be able to get this answer based on what we've already learned. 新しくなかった. So, 新しくない. 新しくない. Very good. So, what happened? If you notice, if you guys didn't get that one, if you didn't get that, actually, we're just using the same information. What does 新しくない end in? 新しくない ends in E ending. Yes, this is good news because it means we have to learn even less. There's even less stuff to learn, right? So essentially, we can literally say positive or affirmative, whatever you like to say, but positive E endings and negative E endings essentially conjugate the same. Okay, obviously a little different when we're going from here to here, but if we're starting with this and we're starting with this and then we want to get the past tense, they conjugate the same way. Maybe we say past tense changes the same way regardless of positive or negative. Sure, you don't have to memorize all that stuff. Just look at what's in front of you. Okay, you have an E, na E, get rid of the E, add kata, get rid of the E, add kata. It's that simple. E endings are the easiest. The easiest. Easiest. ごめんなさい. ごめんなさい. That was unintentional, but beautiful. So we've gotten somewhere, right? Now, this is what I will teach. This is much more important for speaking, but I want you guys to see what's going on, I guess, at least for now. I'm just going to show you the polite. Anybody have an idea of how we would get a polite E ending? Polite no E ending. Very nice. 新しいです. Very good. We're adding des. We're adding des. Okay. What about this one? Is not new. And what about all the other ones? What about all the other ones? We just add des. Just add des. It's that simple. Okay. E endings are awesome. They are the easiest conjugations. Okay. 新しくないです. This is, if you're trying to speak Japanese, this is perfect. Okay. This is all you need for E endings, basically. 新しいです. Okay. ないです. 買ったです. 買ったです. So, you can also take this and remember it for later. We'll see it later, but like, okay. So, essentially the way, if we're trying to identify, is like we're viewing each of these as like a block. Okay. That's how I see it. I just see each of these as their own little block or their own little thing. So if you're watching in an anime, it might be a little harder. Obviously, it'll take some time to get used to it. But 新しくなかったです, right? That's how you can see it. That's how you can see it. And there'll be, you know, there'll always be new stuff. All right, next. One more E ending, and we have to do this one. I have to teach you this because it's so important. もうこんなに大事だから. So important. This is the E ending. Okay. How do we conjugate this one, right? So E, this word E means like good, fine, okay. You know, it could mean sure. It's a very diverse word. All right. Don't try to translate it. That's not that important. We're not trying to translate anyway, right? Okay. E, ja, is not good. Is not good. Boom. I'm gonna do it. Ready? Yokunai. Yokunai. Now, if you guys are like, wait, that's not fair. Yeah, I understand. I understand. This is the, as far as I know, this is the only E adjective or whatever that does this. It. It. Right. So you're like, what? That's not fair. Okay. So what happens is basically, yes, this is what we say today. Okay. This is like modern Japanese. Let's just call it that. This comes from yoi. Okay. Yoi, we still use this word. Okay. So this is still a common word. Still a really common word that we use. Yoi usually means like good evil, or like a, you know, a good person or that kind of thing. E has developed more so just to mean like, oh, it's fine, it's good, it's all right. Yeah, it's like, it's all right, you know, daijoubu, whatever. So what's happening here is, let's just call this irregular. Okay, this is different. We're actually conjugating from yoi. Yoi. But good news is we're still conjugating in the same way. Okay, that's the only thing that changes. You just got to know that. And this, if you're watching anime, probably the most important E ending that you could possibly know. Okay, so yoi. Okay, we're getting rid of the E, we're adding kunai. Okay, same thing that we just did last slide. We got rid of the E, we added kunai. So we're going to be doing the same thing again. Okay, we're going to get rid of the E and add kata. So you should be able to tell me what was good is. Was good wa nan desho? Yokatta! And then when I say that, you guys are like, oh, I've heard that. I've heard that before. So I'm sure you've heard that in an anime or something like that. 100%. Yokatta! Let's keep going. Nothing is changing. We're getting better at identifying what an E adjective is. This is key. It's not, newsflash, E endings don't always end in E. Okay, that's their base form. Okay, but if we want to recognize them anywhere and in any tense, we have to know they look different sometimes. It's, oh, it's conjugated. We got to know that. We got to know that. Okay, ja was not good would be, this is going to be yoku nakatta. Yoku nakatta. Now, how do we make it polite? Des, 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 des. This. Anybody? Reference? This. All right. Very good. Okay. Now, that's usually where I stop with my lessons for E endings. But since we're learning anime, I have to show you this. Okay. I'm going to give you this example. Yaritai. Okay. Yaritai. This is not a typical E ending. Okay, this is one of the ones we kind of we're probably not going to cover too much today. We'll cover in a different day. Yaritai. Okay, this means I want to do, right? Or I want to play. Like if I said game yaritai, I want to play a game. You know, I want to do it. Yaritai. I want to do it by myself. Jibun de yaritai. Okay, still an E ending, but it's gonna look and feel a little different. I will just tell you, most people misidentify this. They think that yarita equals past tense of a verb, and then they're confused about what E is. Don't do that, okay? Just more so, you're gonna have to eventually know to identify tai as a thing, and therefore the past tense takata is a thing. That's how you're gonna identify this, and that's gonna allow you to understand anime. So e endings: want to do, yaritai. Don't want to do, yaritakunai. We're going. It's the same conjugations. Okay, everything's the same. E endings: wanted to do, yaritakatta. Didn't want to do, yaritakunakatta. Super important in Japanese as a whole. Virtually everything. So, normal, yaritai desu, yaritakunai desu, yaritakatta desu, yaritakunakatta desu. Okay. Now, I guess I was gonna tell you about that one. That one, it's just so common, so you got to know about it. That means want, right? I want to. Maybe I wrote something there, probably not. Okay. Now, this is the one, sorry. This is the one where I have to tell you about because this is anime. We'll just call it super formal polite e ending, and it's gonna show up in other places. It's weird. That's just all I'll say. I don't think too hard about it. Just know it happens in anime, okay? And shows and things like that. This is not almost ever something you'll hear in everyday Japanese. So we're gonna use atarashi again, okay? And it almost only shows up in the negative, okay? So is not new is gonna be atarashiku arimasen. Oh, is that what you were saying with the verb earlier? Maybe, Bridgewater? Maybe that's what you were talking about. Nai being a verb or something like that. Atarashiku arimasen. Okay. I don't want you to think about this. I just want you to know this is an e ending. Just think of it as atarashiku nai. The same thing we were already doing. Okay. Just think of it as super formal, polite e ending. Okay. Nothing more, nothing less. Your job is not to be it does sound weird. Yeah, this is what my textbook in college taught me as standard. Like, this is what we speak. I was like, ooh. Right? But this, especially this format, happens quite a lot in, not as much with e endings, but it does happen in shows and animes. So you got to know it. Our goal is to identify. So if this comes up and you don't know what it is, okay, that's not good. Then I haven't done my job. So was not new would be atarashiku arimasen deshita. Atarashiku arimasen deshita. Okay. Same thing. This is just atarashiku nakatta desu. I should say that this is atarashiku nai desu since it's polite. Okay. Same thing. Okay. These, the positive, it does exist. I swear to you, you might not ever see it. But if the positive happens, there it is. That's what it is. Just think of it as atarashi. Atarashi. There's a nuance behind it. Don't worry about it. Just think of it as atarashi. Okay? That's how you're going to identify it. This would be the same. This is, I feel, more common. You'll see that yoku arimasen. Yoku, maybe you'll see stuff thrown in there. Yoku wa arimasen. Yoku mo arimasen deshita, or something like that. That's e/yoi in this super polite form. Okay? Yoku arimasen. Yoku arimasen deshita. Okay. So we're going to ignore tai for now. Okay? This is me telling you, because at the end of this, you guys are going to go do this. Hopefully. Like, I'm going to... here we go. Nakayoku naritai. Ikitakatta. Okay? When... Again, if you already know some of this stuff, go ahead and just start doing it if you're at a higher level. But if not, skip over this for now. We're just going to try to ignore it. But whatever. If you're feeling confident, go for it. But I think better to just try to focus on one type of thing at a time. You know, basic E ending. But always good. We're thinking and wondering. Okay? But don't try to... These are going to show up a lot. Okay? So you might get tripped up. Just use your best judgment. Use your... Oh. The next one is nai. Essentially, nai is no or not. No or not. Okay, so you're gonna see nai a lot because everything uses nai virtually. And so we're going to really, you're gonna see it a lot if you try to do this e ending quest. Okay, just take notice, but if it doesn't, you know, maybe you don't know, and that's why we're gonna do this together. Okay, so there's just so many approaches. You could take your list and send it to GPT. You could go to you could post in the Discord. I made a new little channel in the Discord called Anime Quest, and I encourage you guys to, after this is done, go watch an anime or a show or whatever you want and just drag out all those E endings and E ending conjugations and post them and see what you get. You don't even have to translate them, okay? You don't have to find their meanings. I encourage you to look up their meanings, but even so, just identifying, not even understanding. First step is identification, okay? So we'll figure out nai later, don't worry, okay? Here we go. So here's just some examples. Now that we know maybe what to look for, what is an E ending, I know you might not be able to read these kanji, but you still might be able to identify which one is the E ending. So look at this example. Maybe I can find it. There it is. All right, we'll watch it real quick. Here we go. Ready? I don't know this song, but Ore no monogatari. So my love story, but I think it should just be called like my story. Okay, oh. Koko betsu betsu nante sabishii ze. So, if you were watching, obviously when you're watching, you get to hear, and you might not necessarily need the kanji reading as much. You can try to guess it. Which word in here, if we're practicing identification, which word is the E adjective? Dore desu ka? Which one is that E adjective that we're looking for? Samishi, right? So you can see it's not always so complicated. Sometimes it might be harder to find, but if we go, oftentimes they even have spaces sometimes. When they, basically if you see a space, it usually implies that there's actually a particle missing, by the way, which is kind of cool. I've actually never thought about that, but it's kind of cool. It would be koko ga betsu betsu nante. That's very interesting. I guess I've never noticed that. Betsu betsu nante samishii ze. Okay. You're like, oh, it doesn't end in an E, and maybe that's what might trip you up, but you do see the E. And you just got to take a guess. You just got to take a guess, okay? If you're essentially, you're just looking for this little guy. You're looking for E, and you're looking for kata, to put it plain and simple. You're just looking for E, and you're looking for kata. Let me change the color. Do I see an E? Do I see kata? If so, let me try to figure out if it's an E ending or not. That's your first goal. You're not doing anything else. And if you want, which you should, you just look up that word. This is better than sentence mining if you're just starting out. Sentence mining is, for those, if it works for you, great. But even for people that it works for, in the long run, I think there are some people where it is just perfect. But even for people that it was good for, they enjoyed it, I see them hit a plateau, okay? So in terms of speaking, I'll just say in terms of speaking, your understanding ability, I feel like I've also seen that. So don't put all your eggs into sentence mining. If you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. But it's basically just like taking sentences for flashcards, okay? Another example. Oi, Takeo, doko ikun da? Takeo. There you go. There's the context. He's daydreaming about this girl that he wants to kokuru to. He wants to he wants to confess his love. Basically just tell her he likes her. Just the way that they do that in Japan is different. Okay? He's like, oh, I gotta go tell her. So now we got to identify again. Let me walk you through this one. This one's right harder, but if we just have the idea, I'm looking for E, or I'm looking for kata. That's it. じゃあ、ずっと委員会で一緒だった? And if you can't read it all, it's fine. If you want, listen as you watch. 笑顔の優しい佐藤さん. Okay. If we're only looking for E and for kata, and our goal is to identify, better yet, guys, we've already seen this adjective. And I'm not even kidding. I didn't pick these out. I'm literally going in order. So, yasashi. Boom. Yasashi. We saw kokoro yasashi earlier, right? That's all that it is. So now, look, yeah, you're not trying to understand 100%. Who cares about this stuff right now? That's not our goal. Like, maybe you figure out that Sato-san is a person. Good. That's one less thing to worry about, right? But we're just trying to identify. Yasashi. Oh my gosh. Wasn't that the one we looked up earlier? Yasashi. Oh yeah, yasashi. Okay. That means nice. Like kind. Okay, cool. And you can see, hopefully you can see already, you do this process, like I'm not having to pause for very long. I'm not really struggling. I'm not feeling overwhelmed by holy crap. Now I have to need to know zutto. I have to know iinkai. I have to know, oh wait, what is day doing here? What is isho? Wait, datta, past tense. Wait, is all of this past tense? Egao no, wait, what is that? How is it connecting? It's the smiles. What is that? So do you see, if you're already aware of a lot of the grammar and kind of have some Japanese knowledge, it's gonna make things very difficult for you. So even if you're more experienced, I recommend kind of starting over in a way. Try this method. I promise you it will have results. I promise. Okay. Next is right. There's tie on. Put it back on. There's stai. Okay. That is the other example, but that's I want to. Oops. Boom, 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 boom. Sato-san. Oh man, what's going on? Underneath with the sheet. I always liked you. This is why I actually kind of love this show. It's like if you think you're like about to predict what's happening, you're like, oh, you know, he's gonna say the gomen nasai. He's gonna gomen nasai. And he's just like, I don't like you at all. And so it gets funnier the more you understand. But this is not complicated Japanese in the end. Like you can very easily get to this. These are very frequent flyer words or whatever. Not that crazy, not that unexpected. Zenzen suki janai. Okay. So nai, again, we're skipping nai for now. All right, mita nai, another nai, mite mitai, tai again. That's why it's like just ignore nai and tai when you're first starting out, because they're just gonna show up so much, and you might feel overwhelmed. If you're already there, all good. Now this one's tricky. You guys, if you still can't read katakana, you might miss this one, but this is an E adjective. This is actually E. E is right there. E. Kakkoi. Sometimes, yeah, just it's a little different. It's written in katakana. Just to kind of, it's a different nuance. That's all that it is. Kakkoi. But this word is going to show up like 500 times in this show. And that's why this show is really good. It's got the repetition. I highly recommend it. Okay, so we're identifying e, e, e. Okay. Another example. Ore, omae. I like you. Ore, omae kirai. Okay. So, for those of you who know, ore, omae kirai. Yeah, that is a pretty consistent. At least probably depends on the subtitler, but skipping particles, they do a little space. Maybe I'll keep paying attention to that. It's interesting. Kirai. Okay. じゃあ分かる人言っていいよ. Whoever knows, you know. Kirai. Now, this does end with an E. Therefore, we would assume, oh, it's an E ending. And honestly, even assuming that is fine. It's really not gonna mess with you. But very quickly, if you know the other conjugations, which we'll get to next week, we'll cover this one next week. You'll find out, oh, it's actually not an E ending. じゃあ E ending じゃないのだ。そうなんだ. You go, oh, I mean, it ends in an E, but then if you learn if it's used in past tense or kirai janai, you see janai, which this will help us identify it later. Even if you didn't know it was an E ending, if you knew the conjugations, janai, datta, you would be able to identify that it's not an E ending. And you didn't need some special article talking about, oh, what are all of the irregular E endings? What are the irregular blah, blah, blah. Like, you didn't need that. You didn't need somebody to tell you that just because you knew conjugation. So we had that slide. It's like, how do I identify E adjectives or E endings? It's conjugation. Everything is determined by conjugation in Japanese. If you want to like actually get good, you want a good foundation, it's conjugation. A good foundation's conjugation, something like that. I don't know. So, kirai. This is an example of one. Hey, you know what? Maybe you find it and you think it's an kirai datta. So, kirai datta. Ore, omae zutto kirai datta. I always hated you. So maybe you find it and you go, oh, this is an E ending. Yay. And later you find out it's not. Not the end of the world. It's gonna be okay. Okay? It really doesn't matter. But by learning the conjugations, you'll know. There we go. Another one. Do you see? Like, this is the same scene. You guys can see this is the same scene. Look how much these E endings are popping up over and over and over. Tsugi kara tsugi e. Don. Don't make her cry. I'm sorry. It's okay. Just instant kirikai. All right. So, ino, right? E. And since you already know E, you're like, I know that's E. That's E. I don't know what no is. For some reason, there's a no this time. Not sure what that is. You think and wonder. I wonder what that no is for. Nande no ga aru no? Nande tsuiteru no? Imi wakannai. And then next time it just says E. And you go, eh? Nande konkai? Why is there no this time? That's good. Think about those things. Wonder about those things. That's what you want to do. You just want to think and wonder. Okay. Look, there's sukidatta. Suki janai. Nope. No way. I hate you. Everybody likes Suna. I don't even remember where this part comes, actually. But anyway. This is another example of one where maybe you look it up. You think it's an E ending because you see the E. He says, Yahoo! Otoko nara tatakai da! Batoru! He's like, yeah, we gotta fight. If you're a man, men fight. Tatakai. This actually is a noun. Okay? This is not an E ending. But that's fine. You're gonna look stuff up. You're gonna wonder, is this an E ending? Is this a noun? That's okay. Okay? If you actually knew the conjugation and grammar, you would be able to identify this, okay? So that's knowing the grammar in this case, or conjugation, will let you know that this is not an E adjective, because E endings or E adjectives cannot be followed by da. You don't have that. As a very, very general rule, okay? So you got this. Right? There's a bunch more. Kuyashi, kuyashi. Kakkoyoku nai? Kakkoyoku nai? Here's E, just like we did earlier. So yoi, yokunai. There you go. Do you see how it's coming up? Kawaii. Okay. But it's very clear, right? Almost all examples, you don't really just see E popping out, but then you do. Okay. So it is very easy to identify. It's an E, kiddo. There's E again. Okay. That's it. So now what do we do? Okay. Now it's now it's your time to go on a quest. Questo desu. So this is what I like to, we'll just, this is what homework is, but this is what I like to encourage my students to do. Essentially, when you're doing immersion, you're always having major quests and minor quests. A major quest, we'll just call this a major quest. You're looking to find a pattern. You're not focused on what is the anime saying, what is the translation, what does that mean in Japanese, like the sentence. No, you're focused on the 5%. You're focused on one minor aspect of Japanese, of the anime, in order to understand it in a grander way. Okay. It would be like in English, maybe the example in English would be something like nt, right? You keep seeing nt, don't, can't, won't, but you don't know what it means. So you just look out for that word, and then you see the patterns. Won't, wouldn't, don't, didn't. So imagine if you were learning English and that was your quest. You're just looking for nt, the N apostrophe T, and you're trying to figure out what it is. What is that? Are nani? Mitakoto nai zo. Or maybe we're not, I haven't seen it, but itsumo miru. Yoku miru kedo imi wakannai. I see that all the time, but I don't know what it is. This is what you're going to be doing for Japanese. Right? So imagine this guy's blind. Hello, dear traveler. Are you all on your own? I could use your help as I am blind. I miss watching anime. Will you watch one for me and give me the dirty deets? So go and fetch this poor blind man 15 E ending usages. That is your quest. 15. And they can be repeats. Repeats are okay. If they say E, Io, that's fine. That counts. I don't care. And then you can go into the Discord, which is pinned. I'll post it here. And go to the Anime Quest channel. And you're going to do this. If you want to get good at Japanese, you start this quest today. If you want to understand anime, start this quest today. Right? Remember, beware. They don't always end in E, right? Essentially, we're looking for E or kata. The plain, the now later tense, like, oh, E, what it was like, atsui, it is hot right now. Atsui, or ashita atsui, it's going to be hot tomorrow. That's the now later tense. Kata, past tense. Okay? You're looking for E and kata. That's it. It is a very easy quest. It's like, killing the boars at level 1. It takes some time, and maybe you don't know where the boar's at the beginning. You have to wander around, find those boars. Okay? But eventually you find them, and you're like, oh, this is way too easy. I'm just auto-attacking, and it's fine. So what do you guys think? どうでしたか? Would you like to continue this series? 続き、また来週しますか? I personally, I'm just gonna do it anyway. But yeah, I'll probably maybe clip some stuff down, make it a little bit more consumable for people watching later. But yeah, this is what I want people to know. You can just start with this. This not only will help you learn how to speak Japanese, it's yeah, man, it's an interesting way to build vocab too. It's a better way to build vocab. It is. Like, you're literally teaching yourself based, like, you don't know anything about the language, but it's showing you frequency, right? Again, you watch a more complicated anime, it's not going, you're gonna see like some random word that you'll never see again for like 4 years, okay? So it's better to watch stuff that's simple, where iyo, yatte ii, mite ii, kakko ii, kakkoyoku nai? Like, they're using the same words like 7 times within 5 minutes. That's good for you. If you're trying to get better and learn, you don't want to get thousands of words. My favorite story or statistic or whatever is this story. I'm pretty sure it's real. I looked it up a while ago and it was real. It said it was real. You like the concept, huh? Mayoi doesn't count. Correct. That's right. That's right. You're gonna, you know, if you want, really, if you want to get weird, hirao, hirai. Same as mayo, mayoi. Technically, kirai comes from a verb. So does ski. That's all silly stuff. Don't worry about that, you know, unless you're into it, which you're into that stuff, Bridge, so that's what I'm telling you. But yeah, dang it, what was I gonna say? Yes, so it's a better way of building vocab because the French guy. There was a guy who didn't speak any French. Utsukushi, arigatou gozaimasu. Utsukushi, right? And this is how you can practice too. You watch something, cool. You want to practice the conjugation, which will help you with speaking. Utsukushi, utsukushiku nai. Utsukushi, utsukushiku nai, utsukushiku nakatta. Wait, what the heck? How did I get a... Oh, a subscription through YouTube. That's interesting. Arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you. I was wrong when you said you were right. That is a very obscure band. I'm sure nobody knows. That's okay. Good band. Thank you for the subscription. I very much appreciate that. Yeah, these specific E forms, yeah, oo verbs, or, you know, there's just so much. It's an old language, so weird stuff has happened over the years. You don't need to know it. If you want to know it, have fun. So this is a better way of learning, right? So there's this story. No more looking. There's this story of of a guy who spoke zero French, but he was like a Scrabble dude. He was really good at Scrabble. And so he wanted to enter a French Scrabble tournament. Okay. So he wanted to enter a French Scrabble tournament. He goes and memorizes or studies crazily a French dictionary. Okay. He learns it, a Scrabble dictionary, I should say. He learns like how many words? He memorizes thousands and thousands of words, right? To win this tournament. Maybe there's a strategy. Okay. And he wins, but he speaks zero French. Zero French. Okay. So you can learn 5,000 vocab words and still speak zero French. If he reads it, he can understand, right? And so what we don't want to do is go learn 5,000 words without a purpose. He had a focus, he had a goal, right? And that's why it works. But if you are just watching anime or something and you don't have any focus or goal, you're literally like, you could be learning, like, let me look up something from this anime real quick. Like, okay, like sarige nai just popped up. Sarige nai. Okay, is that a common word? Yes. But if you're just memorizing that among many other common words, you want to focus on the most common words and get that repetition. Repetition leads to memory, commit to memory, etc., etc., etc. That's the way to go. So I really strongly recommend, hey, you can use this anime, you can do a different one. That's up to you. I highly recommend this or something similar that does not get complicated. This one is just so good in so many ways. So I really recommend this anime. There's other good shows and stuff, but in the end, like, we want to keep it simple, especially if we're beginners or just learning. So do the quest. I challenge you, turn this exclamation point into a question mark, and then a silver question mark to a gold question mark because you completed it, like World of Warcraft. You know what I'm saying? All right, go do this quest and post in the Discord all of your findings. 15 e-ending usages. Go do it. All right, you have 1 week. And what is the name, please? Sorry. Yeah, in English it's called My Love Story, and then Japanese is Ore Monogatari. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, I'm like, watch this anime. What is it? So this it's called Ore Monogatari, or My Love Story. It's on, I think it's on like all Netflix. It's in Japan, US. It's definitely one of those ones that's on like every anime website. You know, you like Animelon, Crunchyroll. It's old. It was very super popular. There's a live action version if you want to watch that, but the live action was just okay. It was fine. It was cute, but just okay. Started running through the start of an old OVA in the theater of my mind, and Mayoi was the first thing that with that ending. And I also remember the translation for the subtitles, so I decided to check. Yeah. That's what you're doing, is thinking and wondering. Something you've been doing for a long time. A strategy that a lot of people don't arrive at. So you want to think and wonder. Okay. What are we doing? Hey, Five. We're just finishing. But essentially, I was teaching how to watch anime without English subtitles. So are you studying Japanese at all? Sorry, did I say without Japanese subtitles? Watch Japanese anime. Glad to know I'm on time. Well, I'm gonna be meeting again next week to start the next part of the series. I'm gonna try to just, I do have this time free, let's hope, for the next foreseeable future, whatever. So yeah, it'll be five part series, and then if I like it, enjoy it, I'm just gonna keep going and teaching you guys grammar one by one, and then that'll be the series. I enjoy this. I like teaching people this type of stuff. It's not the same as what I do in my lessons. It is what we can do in the lessons if people want to. It's a good way to learn. It is a very good way to learn. Sometimes I just feel bad like doing a lesson and then watching anime with them. It's really effective, but then I'm just like, you know, most people, they want to talk. They want to talk. So either way, I'm fine doing whatever a student wants to do, but this might be a better place for it. So we did e-endings today. We covered virtually, there's other stuff to know, but we did e-endings. I get told I sound like an anime character though. Well, then maybe you want to do lessons with me. That's pretty easy to fix. You know what, Five? That's a really good question. And actually, it's one of the reasons I really like this show. It's one of the reasons I really like this show is because the main character, I'll just bring up the thing. So Five, this main character, this guy, he talks like an anime character, but everybody else mostly does not. So you can watch him, and the way he talks, if you talk that way, you probably sound like an anime character. It's not the way that you should be sounding. He's like, "Sasuga daze." Like everything he says. Here, I'll mute it real quick, just so you can, you know, say good night. You know, どうも、俺は砂みたいに
Chimaranna.
Right? You can look at his Japanese and be like, I probably shouldn't talk like this. Yeah, I teach absolute beginners N5 100%. I teach any level. Any level. If anything, I prefer teaching people who are beginners because I feel like I have a lot more to offer. And I do JLPT. I've passed the N1 and N2 if that's what you're into. So know how to pass those as well. Like all levels are virtually the same. But yeah, if you're interested in lessons, just email me. You know, or if you just want to do a if you just want to do a consultation, just email me down here, languagementor.jp@gmail.com. Or if you want to do a free consultation, anybody, just yeah, reach out to me and we can just talk, and maybe we're not a good fit. And then yeah, I don't want to teach you if we want different things. I just want to be able to read it and speak conversationally. Then I think yeah, email me. I promise I can help. I promise. Beginner Japanese and basic conversation is so much easier than everybody makes it sound. It's a very forgiving language at the beginning. 5, this is can you scroll up a little bit? Let's see. Maybe you can't see the comments yet, but it's in English, the name of this is called My Love Story, which sounds very stupid. Like it sounds very cheesy, but the Japanese is awesome. It's like Ore Monogatari. It's like, it's more like my bro story. Like that, it feels more something like that. Like me, like it's like I'm a dude and I'm in love. It's like here's me talking about it.
You
know, so you looked at M1 and you're scared. N1 is silly. I'll just say that. English names usually sound weak, like Attack on Titan, Shingeki no Kyojin. Yeah. Shingeki no Kyojin. Yep. For sure. Yeah. So that's all we'll do for today. It's been an hour and 30 minutes. I think that's a good place to step off. Like I said earlier, if you didn't see the stream, just go back and watch it. I really encourage you guys to do the quest and post in the Discord your findings. Okay, you want to get good, just start here. Not even about do you want to learn Japanese? This is a great way to start. Okay, building vocab that makes sense, that's relevant, it's good for conversation. The list goes on. Hai, お疲れ様でした。お疲れ様でした。皆さん。Thank you guys so much. I had a great time. Yeah, I was working on this for about 2 weeks or something, a week or two. You're welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you for the Twitch subs. Thank you for the subscription, the YouTube subscription. If you guys haven't subscribed to my YouTube yet, and you want to, go ahead. Thanks, even though I'm late. Hey, that's all right. That's right. You're gonna be on time next time. I just know it. Or maybe you'll be 5 minutes late, and that'll be better. That'll be even better. All right. Party hat, 100, embarrassed smiley heart. There we go. Yeah. And yeah, if you need any help, let me know. 配信楽しかった。ありがとうございます。またね。I was here yesterday, but no stream. Yes. Yeah, I had a last minute schedule change. Join the Discord then, 5, because then you'll get pinged much easier. Join the Discord. Because I posted in the Discord. I couldn't change the time on my phone. I was away from my computer, and I'm very, very busy right now. very busy. So I just, it's hard to do all the little things. But yeah. ありがとう。またね、みんな。お疲れ様。頑張ってね。